On Sunday the 3rd of July 2016, over 50,000 hectares of the Poriora Forest Park was eerily spread with 1080 poison bait for the 5th time. A few days after the aerial operation, numerous deer were found poisoned on a farm near Lake Taupo. Forest and streams surrounding Lake Taupo are poisoned every 3 to 5 years. TB3 and the Department of Conservation are the government agencies that undertake the aerial operations. Cereal baits are spread across the forest to kill possums, rats, pigs and deer. Lance Aldridge farms 2,000 hectares, which borders one of the poisoned forests.
I've been managing this farm for 28 years, been here 35 years all up, and yeah, I've seen a number of these 1080 drops over that time, and this is the sort of stuff that we're forced to live and work right in the middle of, you know, and it's just carnage out there. We're grazing stock around all this sort of stuff. We've got to work around all this sort of stuff. You know, this here's with us for months now.
What type of farm do you run?
Sheep and cattle. We used to farm deer back in the day, but now we're just sheep and beef. We do have a dairy farm down the bottom end, and yeah, but up this top end it's just solely beef and sheep and beef. We all breeding stock, but we finish all our own stock as well. Everything that's bred on the farm is bred and taken through. Either we keep some as replacements or they're taken through to the freezing works. Oops.
I was sort of thinking, I wonder if you'll get up there.
I took that a bit cheap, didn't I?
Yeah.
The point is, I mean, the point is you'd be rounding up your sheep with your dogs, and
these are right here.
they're right here. They're so
they'll be able to
accessible to
smell
your
them.
animals.
This one here is probably the 90 metres to the bush edge. There's another one further along here which would be a good 100 metres from the bush edge.
Right.
You know? So you think you're safe, you're out in the paddock wandering along with your dogs, mustering, and you need to muster this stuff with dogs.
Yeah.
You know? And especially like this time of the year it's not so bad, but in a few more months' time when we're lambing, we'll be lambing in these paddocks, so then you're going to be mustering for docking and stuff in October. Well, you know, and you're taking that slowly and quietly, so your dogs are just cruising around, whereas I'd be too scared to let my dogs off the bike. So I'll have to use the Honda ways instead of Honda ways. So.
A recent case of animal cruelty resulted in the Ministry for Primary Industries making a plea to the public.
The prosecution follows the broadcasting of shocking images captured by animal rights activists showing Ericsson abusing calves at a Waikato slaughterhouse.
The responsibility for the welfare of animals is not just the responsibility of the regulator, the government. Every one of us has a part to play in that, and we would encourage people that see mistreatment or abuse of animals to report it to us.
The Department of Conservation, TB3 and Waikato Regional Council, in their joint resource consent application to drop 1080 poison for another 35 years, include information from Biosecurity New Zealand stating that the overall impact for 1080 poison on animal welfare is severe.
On the Friday there was an aerial drop of 1080 along the ridge line. On the Sunday I had quite a frantic call from my mother telling me that the red cow was dead, and then she came back and found her daughter and brought her up, and she wasn't well. The first cow died on the Sunday, and then on the Monday I called at 8 o'clock or 9 o'clock to have that cow autopsied, and I also had the second sick cow up here in the yards. She'd gone from being reasonably bad to bloody terrible. She couldn't stand, she was fighting to kind of keep herself together, so I stayed out of the yard and stayed on the outside, and then I called my brother to get the rifle.
Animal Control Products, the company that imports, manufactures and distributes 1080 poison in New Zealand, is owned by the New Zealand Government. The two representing shareholders are the Minister for Finance and the Minister for Primary Industries. The Ministry for Primary Industries may not be aware that 1080 poison is used to inhumanely kill thousands of deer every year.
And there's that little 8-pointer, 6 or 8-pointer.
Nice. Tucked in, isn't he?
Yep. Oh, they're nice. They're all in beautiful condition too, aren't they?
The thing about this though is that one's really easy to miss. Sure, that's a huge toxic bait for dogs, for your dogs, lads. When do you have stock expected to come back into this paddock?
Oh, yeah, it would have been next week, but like we got stock just over there where we found those other ones. There's stock in that paddock already. They went into that paddock on Wednesday. To me, that's the health and safety side of things. We're not trained to deal with that toxic animal.
No.
As far as work safe or health and safety. I'll be getting the contractors in to remove these. With work safe, they shouldn't be left laying around in people's backyards.
No.
The safety data sheet states that 1080 wastes are ecotoxic and that the poison may be present for many months in the carcasses of poisoned animals. The data sheet also states that birds and mammals feeding on carcasses of contaminated animals may be fatally poisoned.
Crikey.
Jesus.
Dehydrated carcasses may remain dangerous to dogs or cats for an indefinite period.
What we do find, if we find a hind, we 90% of the time we'll find a yearling or vice versa.
At a rate of 3 kilograms of 1080 bait per hectare, there is enough poison spread to kill over 1,200 possums, or 113 deer, or over 20 people per hectare. When the aerial operations are undertaken, the baits are dropped directly into streams within the operational area. When the baits are dropped directly into water, they are quickly eaten by freshwater crayfish and other aquatic life, which form the diet of many other native species. Manufacturer warning label states, "Take measures to minimise the chance of baits accidentally entering any body of water." Despite this clear warning, 1080 poison baits are dropped directly into almost all streams within the operational areas.
Carcasses and streams are a big factor with 1080 drops. Every time there's a drop, there's possum carcasses, even deer and pig carcasses end up in the streams. And then you get the high E. coli. Gosh, that stinks. And people are drawing their water from these creeks.
It's surprising how much it stinks, even if it's underwater.
Mm.
You know?
Poisoned animals, including pigs and deer, are left to decompose in the forests and waterways, despite the manufacturer warning label stating, "The exposed bodies of all poisoned animals should be collected and destroyed by complete burning or deep burial at a landfill approved for hazardous wastes." A resource consent is sometimes required before an operation can commence. Waikato Regional Council issues resource consents that permit the bait to be dropped directly into water. The toxin flight charts for this operation show exactly where the poisonous baits were dropped. This graphic shows that hundreds of streams were poisoned at the same rate as the land areas, as is always the case with aerial operations. Over 100,000 kilos of 1080 poison bait was spread across the forest and streams in this one operation. Red deer were first introduced into New Zealand in the late 1800s. They are in low numbers in most areas and are enjoyed by the majority of New Zealanders, despite some agencies' plans to eradicate them. Under the Animal Welfare Act, deer are not permitted to be poisoned with 1080.
Ooh. Ooh. Was he going to go here or what? Hey? He come in close there, didn't he? Just saw my little shaky little cheeks going. By crikey, that's what it's about, friends. That's what it's about. A scary red stag coming in close and allowing you to get a few shots.
In the three-way joint consent application lodged by Waikato Regional Council, the Department of Conservation and TB3, it is stated that deer are deliberately targeted with 1080 poison. Deer like to feed on grass, so if left undisturbed, they will tend to live around farm edges. During the day, they live under the cover of the forest and venture onto the farmland during night time.
They're really beautiful animals.
Deer feed on the poison baits that are cast across the forests.
So there's two more stags back here because the stags hanging out together at the moment.
And because there is a latent period from when they eat the bait until they start to feel the effects, they can travel some distance without feeling the effects of the lethal dose. There is no antidote for 1080 poison.
Oh, probably, yeah. Down to me.
I reckon this picture, I ought to send to the Bloody Bait Factory in
Yeah,
Alabama
I
and
think
say, here's what you're doing. Do you have any social conscience?
so. Yep.
That picture, I mean,
Yeah, that face.
it's just tragic.
Of course,
Yeah,
this
this
has to be early done, guys.
Yeah, incredible. And this is like a stroll in the park compared to what I spray on my farm. This is unbelievable. It's so easy. And I'm an older woman who's not athletic. And if I can do this,
There's a bait there if you want to see a
oh
bait.
yeah.
There's another one just here.
Show Teresa.
There. That one's broken up. You see the bush robins get into that.
Okay.
We've watched them just hoe into it. They love it like lollies.
Many native bird species are known to eat 1080 cereal bait. In 1995, a Department of Conservation science paper was released pointing out that over 20 species of native bird would likely eat baits directly, and another 20 different species were at risk from eating poisonous insects or animals.
It all went quiet and people were like, what happened?
Over 50,000 hectares were spread with 1080 poison in this operation. The baits are spread across land, streams and waterways. The target species are possums and rats. All poison carcasses are left to decompose in the forests and streams, where other wildlife can access them. The carcasses are toxic and can kill non-target species that feed on them, like this endemic weka.
Hoe into it. They love it like lollies. Oh, there's another one. There's three just in a little spot. And see. So there's one there. And
Oh, yeah, there is two. There's one over there.
that are aligned.
Oh, yeah. One there.
So just in this area here, there's five.
There's five and
yep.
how many square metres?
Right here.
10.
The kiwi is New Zealand's iconic bird. They are flightless, very fast and strong, and can live for up to 50 years. Kiwis spend much of their time traversing vast areas of forest in search of food. A kiwi's home range can exceed 50 hectares. They use their bill to probe for insects and other attractive morsels.
Can you get a stick, Charles, and just
Give it a
turn
little
that
poke.
over?
Oh, yeah.
It's had several inches of rain, but it's
A kiwi will encounter many poison baits in a single night of food foraging, and may also consume insects that have been exposed to the poison. In 1992, Department of Conservation scientists found that kiwi will sometimes consume all or part of cereal pellets lured with cinnamon. In 1997, scientists formed this chart to show which species were at risk for non-recovery at a population level. Kiwi are listed as high risk of non-recovery from continued 1080 poison use, as are many other native species.
They wiped all the kiwi out that used to be up here over the years. There used to be a lot of kiwi up here. So.
Did you hear kiwi calling in the past?
Yeah, you used to hear them, you see them, yeah. And like I said, one of our shepherds, he started going to school down here, and they used to come out, and when the mill was going, they used to come out and wreck their gardens, their veggie gardens. They actually had a pet brown kiwi back in the day, you know. So they can't say they weren't here. They were.
So what has made this drop kill so many stags then?
Oh, they always kill plenty of deer. Every drop kills
They're
deer.
healthy stags.
But you're just saying because they're
Well,
grouping
yeah, this-
together at the moment. that
It
it's
could
more
be
likely.
just, it could be just that that we just happen to have not found stags so much in the past because they're not easy to find. You've got to cover a lot of country. It's not like there's many of them, you know.
These are all grouped
These are
together.
clustered, yeah, these are clustered, so it's because they're coming out to the farm edge.
We've got to live and work next to this here for how long? Yeah, health and safety and all that sort of stuff, but this is what we're forced to live and work in amongst. It's crazy. And this is the sort of thing a lot of people don't see. They do the drops, they walk away, they never see the aftermath like we see. And like I've said to you numerous times before, it'll be 40, 45 years now I've been involved in this sort of stuff. And this is, yeah, it's still happening.
In our field trip we found 10 poisoned deer, 3 possums and 1 rat, and several piles of feathers where native birds had most likely been poisoned and scavenged.